be showing you how to create an offline profile in Windows 10. Now let's get right into it, right after a word from our sponsors, Raid Shadow.
I don't understand.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. So
you're not supposed to.
Yeah, that's amazing. I was not prepared. Every time I see that, it cracks me up. Hey, it's Wednesday. It's another episode of the Mattriarchy. I am, as per usual, your host, Matt Reese, coming to you from wintry, wonderlandy Scottsbluff, Nebraska, where we are recovering from a wonderful 3 Thanksgiving weekend over here at the Reese house. And we are today doing the Comics Creators Club, where we will be reviewing the works of Dan DeSosa. I forgot the second to last letter in your name, dude.
The S?
Name.
It's an S. I did get it right.
DeSosa.
DeSosa. I couldn't remember if it was DeSosa or DeSoda, and I'm like, oh my god, what the hell's wrong with me? Anyway,
similar enough.
of Tales of Bardic Fury, which I have the Dead Tree edition. Look at that, glorious dead trees. And we've also got Ninu of the Dinosaurs. Am I saying that right, Mark?
Yes, that is how you pronounce it.
Awesome, excellent, great stuff. Which you might look and say, hey, do these comics have anything to do with each other? No, they don't. But they're both alternate history books, and that's why I'm pairing them together.
Oh.
See, that's
nice.
the theme.
Dan's comic also features talking whales. Mine features talking dinosaurs.
That's true. I got a question about. Well, we'll wait. We'll get to that in a second. So, this whole Comics Creators Club adventure is, of course, the brainchild of our very own Twitless, who is not here today, for whatever that's worth, and it's a bummer, man. I was looking forward to getting his input on stuff, but we are.
I was saying before we started, odds are he's gonna hop in right in the middle of the dub. So as punishment, we're just gonna assign him whatever girl is talking at the time.
I think that's appropriate. So we are, however, joined by our stalwarts, Cartoonicus.
Stay tuned.
And the Metal.
Howdy.
That honestly sounds like it ought to be a band.
Cartoonicus and the Metal.
Cartoonicus and the Metal.
Yeah.
Oh, see, you were talking about being in a winter wonderland. Cartoonicus' actual background is, ironically, probably in a place where it never snows.
It's supposed to snow, but we have this curse of being right next to Asheville, North Carolina, and they steal
They just
every
eat
ounce of
all of
snow
it.
we're ever supposed to get.
Sorry, I had to ditch the sweater. It's just too hot in here.
Didn't want to strip on screen.
Didn't want to. I don't know. It seems tacky.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not.
I don't know.
So,
next time you can probably play stripper music of some time.
Yeah, I'd have to find it and upload it, and that would mean looking up stripper music. Well, hey, here he is.
Whoever
it the
heard
guy-
that, he was out of there.
Hey, he made it.
Oh, here he is.
No, I think Metal and I both tried to add it in the same minute.
I'm not going to be able to stay. I'm going to try and hold. I came down with the flu. I do not.
No.
Oh,
So I am going to hang on as long as I can.
Okay.
Don't pass it on to the rest of us.
I don't think that's possible.
Well, not as far as we know. The digital flu could happen at any minute, though.
Could be a new variant.
your germs can come right through my headphones, man.
Putting this on mute.
So, Cartoonicus, wrong person there. Sorry, man. But Twitless, since you have to leave first, which book do you want to talk about more? Ooh, is that mean to ask?
Yeah, that's terrible to ask. Why would you? No, I'll just basically carry on as normal, and then when I need to go, I'll go.
Oh, okay. Well then, I'm gonna say we're gonna do it in chronological order, and start with Ninu of the Dinosaurs. So, I'm gonna try to remember. It's been, guys, try to remind me. How long has it been since we've done one of the Comics Creators Club things? It's got to be almost a year.
I don't remember when the last one was.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while.
Was the
So I
last
don't remember
one The Adventures
all of the song
Space
and
Tree?
dance. I'm sorry?
Was the last one The
Right.
Adventures of Space
I
Tree?
can. No.
Adventure
I don't
Space
think
Tree
so.
with Cross and
That was
no.
not-
No, that was because we did I can't remember. Anyway,
I thought the last one
think
was you
that
two,
was-
wasn't it? Wasn't it Forces and Super School?
Oh yeah,
it might have been. It might have been.
Right. that
Mhm.
wasn't that long ago.
Mhm.
Actually,
Yep. So
All right,
But
so
anyway.
I'll I can help with this. All right, so okay, so yeah, pardon my voice today. I'm just I've been sick for
Dying.
like almost I've been dying for like 2 weeks. So it's not COVID though. I took a COVID test, so it's just your good old run of the mill flu. So what we do here, this is a comics creators club. So it's a celebration of it's a time for creators for us to talk about the comics in a way that we normally don't get to talk about them. So as opposed to doing what sometimes is called a shill stream, where we just kind of like pitch the book as to the audience, this is more about hey, we all read them, and let's talk about the parts that we liked, and and then it's also an opportunity, because this is something that as a creator that I just was missing out on, is as creators we often want to ask our audience, hey, what did you think about this thing that I did? We put things in our works, and sometimes no one picks up on them. And so sometimes it's nice for us to get a little recognition for, hey, did you notice how much work I put into the lettering, or something like that, which is a question that I would ask. So it's kind of it's an opportunity to do that. And it's also an opportunity for us to do a couple other random silly things. And one of those is that we get the two people we've paired to pitch the other person's book. We do elevator pitches, so it's like something you do in 30 seconds to a minute, and it's off the cuff. So that's why we never prepare you guys for it. But the idea is that you have to do an elevator pitch for the other person's book. So there are two guests today. Will be elevator pitching the other person's book. That always goes really well.
always, it never goes poorly ever.
that's hilarious.
So those are a couple of the traditions that we do for Comics Creators Club, and it's always a blast. Did I miss anything?
No, that was there's that in the voice acting reading.
Oh, that's
part.
right. That's
Yes.
right. I forgot. The most
Which-
important part is that we pull up the first page or two, and then the panel does voice acting for that comic. That's another awesome thing, because as comic creators, we always want to see our works adapted. It's one of I think it's one of the reasons why we do it is that we want to do the comics, but we also one day want to see them adapted, and so it's an opportunity for us to do that.
Into
So
the
usually-
theater of the mind.
Right, exactly.
So, since we are starting with Ninu of the Dinosaurs, Dan, you give us your best pitch of Mark's book.
Well, before we do that, we have to Metal. Do you have the elevator music queued up?
Yes, I do.
Right, 'cause
Didn't previously, but in the time you were talking, I found the 10-hour version of the one that we've previously used.
well, you don't have to go that long.
Please don't.
No, but at least we don't have to worry about it going too long at all. It's better than having a 1-minute version I have to reset.
Alrighty. So if you need a second, that's fine to collect your thoughts. But we'll cue up the elevator music, and then you give us the 30 seconds to 1 minute elevator pitch for We're doing Ninu of the Dinosaurs first, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right.
All right, I'm ready. In a land of dinosaurs, there also lives an anthropomorphic, it looks kind of like a red panda, but I think it's gray. And it talks to the dinosaurs. It is, in fact, friends with the Brachiosaurus. For fans of Jurassic Park, for fans of A Land Before Time, and if you're referring to, if you are those three demographics, Ninu of the Dinosaurs is for you. Adventure, comedy, a furry cat thing with hair, and talking dinosaurs. Check it out today.
That was perfect.
Do you feel like your property was serviced with that introduction?
No, but there were definitely worse ways you could have done it. No,
Oh,
seriously, good job. Good job.
Oh, thank you.
I forgot to mute my mic. And
I really thought that animal was a red panda when I was reading it because I'm like, what other animal looks like this? But then your picture, it's gray, so I'm like, I don't even know what this animal
This
is.
is a raccoon. Just a raccoon.
Okay, it's because the hair makes it not look like a raccoon.
Not a red panda, a trash panda.
Yeah.
All right.
So you were closer than you realized, Dan.
Prehistoric trash panda is what she is.
Perhaps distantly related in some way. I don't think they are, but I mean,
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Tail.
And the
land before trash.
Yeah.
That was perfect. That was absolutely perfect. All right. Well, perfect pitch. I guess we should pull up the. Let's do the voice acting next, and then we can go around the panel and then talk about what we liked about the book, and then we give the creator an opportunity to ask us some questions about what we liked.
I would like to spend while we're getting that loaded up to say hello to our guests who are here. Oh, hey, Jim's here.
Yeah, good to see you, Jim.
Yeah. Jim is here. And also Neil Starr. We've got Halloweener and Abigail and some other folks who have not made themselves manifest. And that's okay. You can lurk here. We won't judge too hard.
Actually, there's a quick question from chat. Let's answer that. Halloweener said, first time seeing Tapas, why is that preferred over Webtoons? And I think the answer to that is you guys are on both. I know some of you guys are on both, right?
Yeah.
Well, in my case, I was primarily primarily looking to post a preview, and I was unsure of what Webtoons guidelines were on that. But I've seen other people post previews on Tapas, so that's primarily why I chose it at that time.
Gotcha. I think the two, go ahead.
Oh, I just chose it because I put it everywhere, and Webtoons like the biggest one, and Tapas, and then I also put it on Namikami and Metabang and Mangadex. My strategy is just put it everywhere and hope that people will see it.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's a pretty solid strategy, but that is a lot of overhead.
I can relate. I could probably answer this question, though. Why some people might prefer Tapas over Webtoon. If you are looking for the traditional page layout as opposed to vertical scroll, it's a little friendlier for that. And because it also has web novels on it, if you're somebody who dips into either end or want to attract an audience from a different medium, you're probably more likely to do it on Tapas.
I will also say, considering how I've uploaded my comic, it seems a lot more friendlier to both the scroll and the traditional page. Like if you want to upload your traditional page, but you want to allow your readers to scroll down, it seems to be a little more friendly in that regard.
Yeah.
One thing I find cool, though, that I'm going to want to take advantage of in the future with Webtoon is its ability to incorporate music.
Yeah, I think Tapas is on that as well, because you can't actually have like a MP3 or something uploaded.
I haven't seen it yet.
I've been reading some of the Korean version of Webtoon, and I know they've already got that feature over there. So
I think Tapas has it.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, I think Tapas has it.
Okay.
To the music thing.
Well, let's get on with our reading. So
who wants? Yeah, we got to assign.
Well, we actually do. Twitless, because you were the last one, we had kind of agreed that you would voice all the girls. so now I also want to say you're feeling ill, and I don't want you to have to sound like a girl if it's going to make you cough. But I would also love to hear you do Ninu, because I think that's funny.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
You can blame me. It was my idea.
It was Metal's idea.
Okay.
This is justice for all the times you call my cartoons furries.
I mean,
now you are the furry.
Okay, so so I think in this first section we would have Ninu and of course Brack.
Yeah, Brack. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the two like raptor thingamies, right?
Utah raptors.
Spiritosaurus is what they're called.
Yeah. So, who would like to play Brack?
I can.
It's pronounced Brock.
All right. No. Okay.
I
All right.
was wondering. If it would be Brock.
Cartoonicus, you're allowed to do Brack, but you're not allowed to use Patrick Warburton as a voice.
I knew you'd say that.
That's amazing.
Are any of the T-Rexes girls?
No.
They could be.
Well, they could be, but
two bro Rexes.
Bro Rexes. I love it. I think I can do a Bro Rex.
All right, so that leaves one more Rex left. So who's got that one?
I could do whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Sold. All right.
You're up, Cartoonicus.
Hey, Ninu, those fish you caught are alive, right?
Yeah. Why do you ask?
Don't you ever feel bad about eating them?
Not really. They don't think or talk like you and I do.
Oh, well, then do they taste good?
They're the best. You should try one, big guy. Here's one flying for your tongue.
Nice.
Oh, that was awful. How do you eat those?
I guess it's true what they say about leaf eaters not having taste buds.
Meat.
Big meat. And look. Little furry meat for dessert.
I say we feast.
Yes, we feast.
I can't believe it. The biggest and strongest lizard can't take a little slimy fish. Hee 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 hee. Some big tough lizard you turned out to be.
Cut it out, Nino, or else.
Or else what? You'll eat me?
I might. You'll taste terrible, but you'll slide right down the back of my throat, no problem.
Hold it, Brack. Something's going on in those bushes up there.
It's probably just a flock of birds.
Meat.
Or not.
Meat.
All right. Do you want to cut it there? Or do you want to do on another page?
You gotta do another.
Okay.
That's
we'll do
another page.
All right.
Hello, meat.
Oof.
Ew! Nino, what's digging into my side?
A couple of land sharks just jumped on for a ride. Get them off, Brack. They think I'm dinner.
Little meat is dessert.
The trees are a bit crowded here. I have to find a clearing.
Well, hurry, big guy. I don't know if I can hold them off.
I eat dessert first.
Oh,
Okay. That's your allotted number of pages.
Okay.
I would like to thank Twitless. Even though you're sick, thank you for not making Ninu sound like Macy Gray.
You're welcome.
Google
It's amazing.
Gray.
So Neo says your girl voice sounds like Rocky the Squirrel from
Well, you got the right color.
That's true. That's true. So what did everybody, now that we've had our little play acting, what did everybody think about the story? And I should also say that I kind of owe everybody an apology. Early this morning, Mark sent me the complete issue 1 to share with everyone, and I didn't realize that it wasn't just a preview until like 5 minutes before the show was supposed to start. So, oops. That one's on me. So we only read the preview.
The preview still got a chunk to it.
Oh yeah.
It was not. Yeah. So the preview was substantial. I want to.
What was your favorite?
Yeah, let me start.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I first read this, the first thought I had, and I thought of Star Fox Dinosaur Planet, and honestly, I was on board with that pitch.
It's got a lot of Star Fox Adventures vibes to it.
I was like, we have a character who's a little like Crystal, and then we've got the dinosaur sidekick. But one thing that I think that I really want to go out and say here is that I got a little vibe of Star Fox Dinosaur Planet, but this is definitely it's very much its own thing. And not only that, but there's like 1,000 dinosaurs or so, but it's kind of disappointing. Not your work, but it's kind of disappointing how in pop culture that we only seem to get the same 2 to 3 dinosaurs that people tend to gravitate towards when it's my dinosaur friend. And so it's usually like a T-Rex or a Triceratops, Velociraptor, maybe, right? There's like the 3 safe dinosaurs you get. So I thought it was really cool that we that our deuteragonist here is a Brachiosaurus, which is one of the largest ones. And in some ways, one of the reasons why he doesn't get picked very often to be a main character is because they're so bloody big. But that makes it cool, and I think I'm interested to see and already in this initial story, it played into the drama because he's so big that he kind of has to wait until he's in a larger area before he can act. But when he does, it's going to make a splash because he's the size of a bloody skyscraper. So having a extremely large characters like that and a dinosaur that doesn't often get to be a main character, already these are cool things that I was very much on board with.
And it's interesting having a character who can simultaneously be the vehicle, allow and the setting, right? These characters are actually fighting on top of him.
He's a setting
moving
and
around
a character.
right. He can move them from place to place while other stuff is happening.
Well, yeah, they talk about him being a vehicle, but he's also a building. You'll think about that scene at the end
when
they're
setting
camping.
in general.
Yeah, when they're camping, he is the circled wagons.
He's just an RV.
That whole framework.
I talks to you.
He's an RV.
Yeah. And so it's one of those. I think it's one of those things that I really enjoyed that aspect of it too, the visual idea of it, and the idea that here he is being hurt by something, but he's so large he can't even tell what it is.
Right.
So he's dependent on Ninu being in a tick bird sort of way to a rhinoceros. And
it's the story of the lion and the mouse.
They have a symbiotic relationship, and you played with those dynamics well. And so each of them, it wasn't just that one of them got to shine and the other one, one of them was just overly dependent on the other. They're a team, and the team aspect you could see because Ninu obviously is doing her thing, but then when Brack finally is able to get some space in the clearing, it was very satisfying to see his how he deals with the
That's
So
a
it's-
good point. Like if you know wrestling, I was just thinking like so Ninu is like the one who comes in, the worker who does all the work, and then Brack is like the hot tag who comes in with the big finisher.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah. How about you, Metal? What were your takes on the whole piece?
Well, it was definitely very interesting. I actually kind of liked it as a preview. I'm sure I will like the rest of it when I get to reading it. But just that preview piece was a very well-paced, concise plot. Because a lot of times when you get thrown into something, people just try to like shove too much in your face at once, but there's just only like one thing happening at a time. I really appreciate that. I like the relationship they have. The way they're talking about the fish and the meat, and everything really gives me like a comic strip vibe, almost like the type of dialogue that you would get in your Sunday funny pages and stuff, right before we get into action. So I thought that helped the pacing too. It's a neat little story.
Thank you.
Yeah. How about you, Cartoonicus?
So one thing I noticed was that, and while there are only 4 characters in here, I felt like everybody's voice, despite the fact that we're all amateurs here, was spot on. And I think that says something about how they're designed and how the story is being told. You know exactly who these characters are the moment you see them. And that's good presentation. It is, they are interesting characters. Certainly, there are things that you're not expecting. They're not just archetypal necessarily characters. They grow as the story continues. The action is good enough. It's interesting, and like you said, having him like come in with a headbutt at the end. Spoiler alert. So they're thinking out what they're doing, and that's good. I've got to admit, again, spoiler alert, I was not expecting with this world of talking animals here for them to totally go and kill one of them off like that. That was a little freaky.
So
it was like an Animals of Farthingwood moment.
Yeah, I'm kind of
slightly lessened by the fact that it was a villain.
Yep. Well, one of the big inspirations for the story, at least the.
Can I guess?
The way
Can I guess before you say it? Can I guess? Is it Usagi Jimbo?
That is an influence, but not the one I was talking about.
Watership Down.
But a bit.
I certainly did get that vibe with the eye crossed and everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
But another influence is the Redwall books, which are considered books. Yeah, they're considered books for children, but sometimes when you read certain battle scenes, you see characters, primarily villains, die in horrible ways.
No, you're right. No, Redwall's a good series. Yeah.
It's a fitting end for their kind.
Yeah. It's like I was kind of wanting to not necessarily make a kid's book, but a kid-friendly book, but something that could kind of see if I can still get away with that level of violence and yet still have parents say, "Oh yeah, I'd buy this for my kid."
Mm-hmm.
And so far, I've had a bunch of parents tell that to me. So far, I'm doing good on that challenge.
Well, and I think part of it is I think you do a really good job, and this is a little bit of a cheat because I've read some of the later issues, previously, but pardon me. But the stakes your stakes are real, but you also manage to not make it gory, right? And so that's one of those things that like it's a real fine line to do with kind of all ages action books, and I think you do a pretty good job of threading that needle.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's important too because like kids love violence and they love horror, but you don't want to overload them with it. You don't want to go past like the area that they can handle. So it's almost like you have to give them like curated violence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The Usagi Yojimbo kind of little tricks that that you're working with there, I think, are very helpful. which allow you to imply, because one of the big differences, and this goes for Redwall as well, is implying violence as opposed to downright graphically showing it. And that's usually the line for most parents. Is you can imply something bad happened. Most of the Disney deaths that you see in Disney films are basically implied. And it's, but honestly, sometimes the implied is actually better than the, if you just shown it anyway. So it's not only a tactic for youth oriented writing and storytelling, it's also a tactic for just storytelling. So
Oh yeah, especially like edging the violence too. You look at like Don Bluth films during like the 90s and stuff, and a lot of them are borderline horror films for children. And Land Before Time being one with a T-Rex, like they'll come so close to almost getting eaten by the thing, and there's a lot of tension there, and that thing takes a beating, falling on rocks and stuff. And it is very violent, but it's not gory at all, and it just kind of like is edging you the entire time.
Yeah, I never know where to draw the line, because like when I go to Comic-Cons, little kids are wearing like Five Nights at Freddy's stuff and Demon Slayer stuff, and they tell me they love it. And like Demon Slayer is pretty like violent with like beheadings and all this blood and stuff. And then Five Nights at Freddy is pretty violent too. So like, yeah, I don't know what they could handle these days.
I think Five Nights at Freddy, though, actually falls into that category of more implied violence than not, because like it stops just at the jump scare, and you know the person dies, but you never see it.
Right.
Yep.
There's a lot of implied there.
I don't know.
I don't think Scott Cawthon ever designed a scene where you actually see or see even a post scene of where somebody was stuffed into a animatronic suit.
Well, especially since all that stuff is hidden behind the mystery that you have to solve anyway.
Yeah. Like the closest you get is a pixelated scene of like the guy who runs the place jumping into the trap and it crushing on him, and there's like pixelated blood.
But it's pixelated to the point of like Atari level.
Right. Yeah, so you can't even tell really what's going on. You just know what's happening.
It's once again it's once again implied. So
right, and it's one of those things too. It's like you know going back to like my personal favorite comic book film is Rocketeer, right? And that's a very violent picture, but it's got zero gore in it, right? And I think that's sort of the part of the way you can ride that line, is that violence is part of action storytelling. You should not avoid it, but the idea is you don't have to show every pool of blood or every vein popping for it to get that point across. Our minds do a lot of the detail work on that anyway. So. But yeah, I think for really it's not just Marty. I don't think it's just the violence you handle well either. The way you have society building, the way you have the stakes of evil within the story, and the desire to survive and the desire to live, and those sort of themes. I think you do a really good job of putting them. Portraying them on a way that's digestible for young readers, while not veering away from the severity of those things. And that's one of the things I really appreciate about the work. I also like that your dialogue is punchy enough to be interesting, and that's something that like not everybody pulls off writing for a broad audience. So a lot of times when people want to have an audience write for that broad all ages audience, that ends up being the dialogue becomes too trite or too clever, and I think you do a good job of writing that line as well.
Oh, thanks. That's one thing I'm glad to hear.
So now we skipped right past you, Dan. What are your thoughts on Ninu here?
I think the art's good. One thing that I was just thinking of is like, we know that dinosaurs had feathers, and like everyone has known it for years now, but in all the media, there's still like the featherless lizards. I guess that's kind of a non sequitur thing, but the storytelling was pretty clear. like I said before, I thought it was a red panda, and I was like, why is the red panda with the dinosaurs? But you just kind of, the story kind of like just takes you in and just goes with it. So maybe there will be like some explanations later. And also, my bad on calling it a red panda before. It's a raccoon. And
it's all right.
there's like some vor elements going on. I don't know if that shows up in like I don't know if that shows up in future chapters or it's.
I
like
assure you, I assure you, DeviantArt was not an inspiration.
Oh. Well, that's good to
Perfect.
hear.
That's the
That's
perfect
always
response.
It's always good news.
So, Mark, are there any questions that you had for us?
For those for those that read the preview and also those who read ahead, are there any criticisms or inconsistencies in the artwork that you caught? Or does the page flow nicely, or do I need to work on getting the panels to draw your eye to the next one?
I'm going back over to check here, but I do not think so.
Yeah, it worked for me. The storytelling was good, nice and clear.
All right. Yeah, it's like.
I could say a critique I have for some of the lettering and the bubbles, and maybe this changes in your future pages. It's like the words are like right on the edge. It makes such a difference if you could give the words like more room to breathe. Like, it's kind of hard because I guess you got the text so small, but when it's like right on the edge of the bubbles like that, it kind of like just feels.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up too.
But yeah, if you, or sorry.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not even just the edges. It's also that like the words don't even have enough room to breathe between each other at times, right? And since this particular one we're looking at is not just like a black and whitish comic, but it's almost all line art with some toning in for shading. The words can sometimes just disappear into the line art if you don't have enough room to let them breathe.
Right.
Like it's good on that panel because of all the black silhouettes and stuff. But when we get into like this greenery here, right, it kind of just blends into the trees a bit.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've been trying to I've been trying to do it. I have noticed that in these first 11 pages, and have been trying to be more careful of that. I don't think I'm always successful at it. Lettering is not my strong suit, but I've been trying to get better at that.
You write and draw this. This is all you, right?
Yes.
That's something, because you're handling quite a lot of duties on that front. And I just wanted to say that, like, since you're putting on so many hats. I was, obviously, we could always get better. We always want to get better. But I mean, the fact that you were handling everything so well, I was pretty impressed by.
Yeah.
So just keep on improving. I think that I would love to see, I guess, more inked, I guess, pages, because that's gonna, add more depth to things and allow certain things to pop more.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, this was a good read.
All right.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that too. Because a lot of people, when they come into comics, they'll come in with like a specific skill set, and they quickly learn how many different skill sets are involved, right? Like lettering, and that's graphic design. And a lot of people come in, it's like, I'm illustrating. How different can it be to letter? And then you realize you're just learning a whole different tool that you didn't before, and then you have to take writing involved too. And it is definitely impressive for somebody to just do all of it and it to come together as nicely as we see. So it's really easy to just fumble stuff.
Yeah, one way to get better too is just like you like Stan Sakai comics, right? He's amazing at lettering. Like, just look at what he does with the bubbles and just try to copy like how he has the words and how he does the bubbles and stuff, and then you'll just slowly get better the more you do.
All right, thank you.
But it'll make such a huge difference with the lettering too when you like give it more room to breathe. It's already good, but it'll be even better.
Yeah.
I'd also like to take the time to point out that you've impressed Jim Tuner, and that is not an easy task to do.
There you go.
Oh,
So consider that to be
Oh,
fun.
nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
Jim has the propensity to be right about nearly everything. So
Okay.
yeah.
Except when he disagrees with me.
Which has happened a couple times. We appreciate it in the chat for sure. Okay. I think, unless there's anybody has anything else to add, I think we're ready to move on to the next book. We're a little short on where we often go, but I feel like it's a good place.
I have a question, or I guess more of a speculation because I only read this first preview chapter. I wonder if, for example, Ninu will find a boyfriend raccoon, or if she's the only mammal around.
a fox will come down from space.
Oh, nice.
I will spoil a little bit about what at least this arc is about. It is like you might have read to the end of the preview. The next few issues are actually flashback to when Ninu was a child, and she her village is actually attacked, and she ends up hooking up with Brock. So you get to see that, and it's just from there it's just them surviving up to that point, and then meeting up with the forces that attack their village. But right now I am only three issues into this. So if you want to at least see how these two met, you can subscribe to me on Subscribestar at Stonemason Comics, and you will read that story in its entirety. Issue 3 is still being produced, but it's almost done, and right now you can access individual panels for $1.
Each panel $1?
Yeah, individual panels for $1, full pages for $3.
Good business model or monetization model.
Oh, thanks.
So, excellent. Very good. So
I did actually have one other bit of advice. Again,
Okay.
that came to me. And this, I don't know if this gets solved later or not, but this panel right here stuck out to me. Varying your line weight a bit more could probably help too.
Yeah.
Especially because like the spear in this panel just like sinks into the speed lines.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, I actually did notice that after it was already published, and I was like, because this panel does stick out to me like a sore thumb, but it'll do less so when I do color it, because I do plan on eventually coloring all the pages and creating a physical release for everybody to buy.
Right on. I'm just I had no idea what line weights were until I started commissioning pages, and then I had to pick that up. So it's just interesting how just the thickness of line it makes such a big difference in the composition. Yeah, it's cool stuff.
Yeah.
Indeed. Okay, now for the reels. We're going to
Actually, I thought of something. Okay.
and just one more thing. Listen, Columbo. It's my show, and I say we're going to flash forward several thousand years into Iron Age Ireland, and we're going to have Mark there pitch us on OI Tales of Bardic Fury.
First, I want to ask Dan if it's all right that I try to pitch his book comedically.
Do you? Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Are we ready with our musical?
Are you ready?
interlude? Metal.
Yes, I can start it now.
Rob Schneider is a bard that just graduated from college. but he's about to find out that being a bard isn't as easy as he thought. The village hates him. His fiance hates him. He likes his fiance's sister, but he has to deal with their father, who might just be a little fried in the brain. But when the bard and his friends invented the ancient Irish predecessor to alternative rock, things look like they're smooth sailing. However, there's much more to a bard's job than holding local hipster music festivals. Danger lurks outside the village of Oi, such as demons, banshees, and enemies dumping sludge in their fishing waters. How is a bard supposed to defend a village? Find out by reading about Rob Schneider in Oi, Tales of Bardic Fury, rated PG-13. Warning, the comic actually severely lacks Rob Schneider, so it's actually worth reading.
Wow.
That was amazing.
I'm impressed. You're like, yeah.
We've never had a fan casting for a comic before. Oh my gosh.
Except for Cartoonicus, who always
I was going to say, what are you talking
Patrick
about?
Warburton as everybody.
Jim Tuner says it's Scott Pilgrim in Old Ireland. Kind of.
It's not that far from Mark.
No.
Yeah, basically.
It definitely has some. It's the way I described it when I first was exposed to it was it's an Iron Age Irish punk comic, right? If you've done read any punk rock comics, it's got that same kind of feel of punk rock comics, but it's
Very
also
Irish.
very Irish.
It's very Irish.
And I've had Dan on the show, 3 years ago? I think I had you on to talk about it.
Yeah, it was a really long time ago.
It was a really long time ago. I think you were just starting volume 2.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But I think that's what it was. But yeah, it was one of my I flipping love this story.
yeah, I figured you would.
Oh,
Actually,
thank you.
Before we get into the voice acting, I do want to ask because the Irish references and even the way that you write the dialogue seems very authentic. Have you spent time in Ireland, or do you have like strong familial connections? Because from what I could tell, like I was like, this I expected to talk to someone with an Irish accent today, and it was like, oh, it looks like he might be from the US of A, and that made me even more intrigued. So how did you what's the Irish connection there?
All right, so I'm not Irish at all. Not even one of those people who's like, "Oh, my great granddad came here from Ireland." Not even that. I used to live in England, and so, I mean, it was London, so there were some Irish people there, but it's not like I was surrounded by Irish people. I guess I just did the research to try to make the dialogue sound authentic. I mean, I've seen Father Ted. And honestly, like there's like some slangs they use, but their English and the phrasing is pretty similar to American. They just have Irish accents, so it didn't require that much changing. I say like feck instead of
Right.
I don't know if I could swear, so I'm not going to. I use like some random swear words, but I try to also not use too much Irish slang because like people who English is their second language, they won't know what it means. They're just people who aren't familiar with Irish slang won't know what it means. Right.
Oh, he's roboting a bit.
You broke up for a second there, man. Or still
Might have to give him a second to
catch up.
drive through that tunnel, that internet tunnel. No, it's funny. I've watched Father Ted like 4 times, so it's I could see it's a good show.
Caused by unstable internet. Okay, now it's working. Yeah, Father Ted's great. And just like I wanted to call it Oi just because when I lived in England, everyone would always say Oi, what's up? And I just kind of thought of Oh My Goddess, and I thought it stood out.
Oi, my goddess.
I mean, I thought of Oh My Goddess or whatever, and I'm like, every time I see that manga, the name stands out, so because of exclamation mark or whatever, so I call it Oi.
Right.
And then it means also, I found out it means gold in, I think, Old Irish Gaelic, so that was pretty cool too.
That kind of makes it a genius title there.
Yeah, one of the things that really stuck out to me about the title is that Oi is a whole subgenre of punk rock music too. So I
Yeah.
felt like that was a really organic take on it, especially because Oi is such a working class village, so it fits in with the whole milieu of it all.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're already like what? We're using 5 meanings for Oi right now. It kind of reminds me of the a Japanese title for Speed Racer, which is Mach Go Go Go.
Yeah.
Go meaning the English word for go. He drives the Mach 5, and go is the Japanese word for 5, and go is the main character's name in Japanese.
Yeah.
So,
I've always loved that title.
yeah.
I even like the way the title looks too, since
Oh,
the
yeah.
I in Oi is like an upside down exclamation mark, so it's like 2 of them next to each other.
Yeah.
For
I thought it looked
visual flair.
Sorry about my dog.
That's okay. That's okay. So
Your dog's just saying oi in dog.
Yeah.
it could be. It could be.
Yeah, I love Oi. Just what you were saying before. I love Oi music, like Stiff Little Fingers and Sham 69. I think it was pretty cool that like it used to start riots and they banned it because it was all about music bringing people together, like from like all working class people, all races. That's what it was about, and the BBC banned it.
Oh, wow.
So thought that was interesting.
Of course they did.
Yeah. Well, and that actually fits into the bigger themes of the book too, which is I don't want to get into too much of it, but I tell you what, man, the end of volume 3 like just had my heart just like twisted inside of my chest. So yeah, I love it. I love it.
All
Anyway,
right,
so
let's do some voice acting time.
Yeah, here, let me pull it up. Yeah, we could have started sooner, but I had to attend to something for a second.
That was my fault. I had asked the Irish questions, which I really needed answers to because I'm a big fan of Irish stuff.
Oh, yes, I will have to... I think I missed the beginning of it, but I'll have to go back and listen to that again, because I am very, very Irish and interested in that stuff.
You could do an Irish accent.
So, oh no, don't ask me to do an Irish.
I'm not going to try.
Okay, so this page has no acting, but we need to know our characters for like the 5 pages that we're going to read.
Yeah. So we've got our druid, right? Who's going to be? I think Reese should be the druid because he looks like one.
Yes, very fitting.
I think he tends to look more like the father.
No, he's got the hair to be the druid.
Yeah.
Almost. My hair's not quite that curly.
All right, so we got the druid.
It's curly, but it's not that curly.
We got the druid. Who are the other characters on those pages? We got
I
druid,
think the whale, King Baleen, the whale. I think he talks.
Yeah, well. All right, Cartoonicus needs to be the whale because he wants to be a talking animal, of course.
We've got some thugs, some henchmen or whatever as well.
Yeah. Some Phoenician ninjas.
I will be the thugs.
Okay. Both of them?
I mean...
Yeah, we could just treat the book as it's racist. All the Phoenician ninjas sound the same.
Kind of hard to tell them apart. I'll
be honest. Like that was one thing when you were reading through that with Ninu was trying to remember which of the hunters was which.
I knew which one I was because I remembered which side I started on. Because they were standing side to side, and then one of them fell off too, so I just stuck to that one.
Yeah.
All right, does that cover everybody?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
I mean, I'm not sure everybody got a part, but
I think that's all the pages.
I don't know if we.
I don't think Mark got a part, but I do think that's all of it.
I could probably be thug number 2 or 1, whichever one has less lines. If
okay,
or more lines, I don't care.
That works for me. I think they both within the pages we got. I think they both have like 1 apiece. So
okay. All right.
I got to full screen the full screen so I can read it more easily.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, this doesn't let me zoom as well as the PDF does.
It's just as your scouts said, King Baleen. This is why there are no fish or krill this season. Is that Baleen's?
Yeah, that's the whale.
Okay. Cartoonicus, you're up.
Somebody contact the producer. I think we need a recasting.
What, you don't speak whale?
All right.
We're done
with it.
This is a dub, man. You have to say the line.
These whales
Oh,
speak
okay.
Irish.
Translation, por
They're not
favor.
subbed.
All
So-
right. These strange ships are poisoning the sea with their wicked potion star seal. They are desecrating the ancient life water of our ancestors.
All right. For this heresy, they will face the divine reckoning of the sea itself. Let us sink all their ships to the murky depths. This is our water. Let us bring the slaughter. No mercy! Skadoosh.
Hey, Tony, they're here.
Lovely. Ah!
Whale star splash!
We really need some like rock music playing in the background here.
We could have done that. We didn't think about
Yeah.
it in time.
I think this is a good page to end it on.
Lobster
The
claw
lobster claw
lariat.
lariat.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
By
I
the gods,
like-
he's broken in half. Somebody.
I love it when people announce their moves.
Yeah, me too.
How does an Irish
Rainmaker!
whale- That whale call was uncalled for. Ichthus would pick this up perfectly. The whale star splash sounds like a pro wrestling finisher.
Yeah, well,
Of
the
course
fact
it
that we
does.
get a lariat afterwards, definitely.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
His whole moveset's inspired by pro wrestling.
Well, yeah, and it's actually really fun, too, because a lot of professional wrestling grew out of catch as catch can wrestling that was really popular amongst Irish immigrants, Irish and Scots and Welsh immigrants that came over. It was a way to make money in between legitimate jobs during the 1800s. So I thought that was a really interesting little parallelism in all of that.
Oh yeah.
So-
Even like
Oh,
there was a couple famous wrestlers who have Irish themes, but a lot of them actually just have stage names. And if you go and look at their actual names, a lot of them are just Irishmen. Like even into the 90s, there's still just a lot of Irish wrestlers. It's like a cultural thing.
Yep.
yeah. Even now, Sheamus, Finn Balor, Becky Lynch,
Yeah.
that other guy in Judgment Day, that jobber loser.
Sorry.
So
I was gonna say Will Ospreay, but Will Ospreay is from England.
Yeah, he's really good.
But
Yeah, or you
So-
also have Roddy Piper. While that wasn't his actual name, he was Irish on his mom's side.
Oh,
yeah, nationally Canadian, but yeah, no, I think Scottish actually for Roddy Piper.
It was like I think he was North Irish, but he was
Oh.
like right there on that kind of like border area.
Okay.
like Scots Irish could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Okay, well, let's go around here. And Mark, I want to start with you. What were your impressions of our sample chapter of OI, Tales of Bardic Fury?
I actually read the read all the previous chapters up to this point, and because I wanted to see just how we got here, and I wanted to see why there were people dumping sludge in the fishing waters. I wanted to see what the conflict was later on in this chapter, and I gotta say that the story is very well paced. I was engaged the entire time. I like that I really have time to get to know each character, and their motivations and desires are made clear from the outset, and it's like these yeah, and I actually want to see how the rest of it plays out. So, and it's like especially the cliffhanger, especially after the cliffhanger of this particular chapter, it's got me wanting to know what's going on later on.
Thanks for checking out the earlier parts.
You're welcome. But
so I got to interrupt everybody because I have to address this comment from Ichthus right here. Said if there would be a cooler version of Aquaman, this is it. And you are not wrong. And the thing that gets me, like, I don't want to say too irritated about it, but like Aquaman's story was rooted in a lot of ways in North Atlantic, Irish and British water folklore, and it that's been totally forgotten by current writers, and that's something that I always picked up on, and so seeing those elements and how they play into the mythology, and I'm a huge Aquaman fan, so even plucking those strings just a little bit makes me love this book. It's one of the many things that I love about this book. So anyway, so that was Mark Metal. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I've got a lot, especially being a American Scots-Irishman myself, growing up in that culture. My family's like heavily into that Irish thing. Our family comes from Tiryu, up in the Northern Ireland, but not the actual area of Northern Ireland, like right outside of it, the part that Ireland got to keep in Donegal County. So like I'm kind of embedded in this kind of culture, and I think you did a pretty good job of capturing it. Like I can feel it reading it, especially the illustrative style. I think really fits a lot of the older ink drawings. I know we were talking about this before we started, but you have parts that were done in blue to be more like the woad inking that they used to do. I would have actually loved to have seen some OM scratched off into some like boards or something throughout it. I didn't catch any. Consider that for stuff, but I could definitely feel the Irishness there. I love the way the characters look, like even way like one of the girls, I think it was Adini. Her hair is braided in ways that I'm just like familiar seeing. It's I don't know, it's like you're getting to dive into a culture, even if it's an alternate history. It's a pretty cool adventure. Like you're taking a vacation, you know.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like anachronistic is the word. Like they're wearing stuff that they could have been wearing in those times, but like no one really dressed like this back then.
Oh yeah, no one.
Right.
But like I also thought like because female athletes and like UFC fighters have those types of braids a lot too, and then also it was like kind of a Celtic thing to braid your hair like that, so it just kind of like is a parallel because she's like the athlete of the village.
Yeah, and I love the second I saw hurling sticks because I'm a big fan of hurling.
Oh, you've got to read chapter 2 chapters before there's a whole hurling match.
That's how I've been meaning to read OI for a while. Reese had turned me on to it, and it's been sitting in my backlog, and this is the first chance I've had to read any of it. I'm definitely gonna go back and start from the beginning.
Yeah. One thing I really like about this scene is that this was the first thing I read, and I could already tell that this girl and this whale, they have a history together. So it's like the fact that I could immediately tell that without any reading any previous chapters. I actually enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's Starseal raised her from a young age to like grow up with the whale, so like she has a relationship with the orcas that are like guarding the water, kind of. And while I was researching this comic, I learned that orcas do actually have like relationships with fishing villages, and they help each other out. Like there's this one case where an orca would go out when I think it was people who hunted nor whales. So when the narwhals were ready to hunt, it would like go to the coast and start slapping its tail, so the fishers would know to go out, and they would like work together to hunt stuff. So I want.
Oh yeah, they can build relationships with individual people too. Like they'll remember people's faces and the sounds of their voice and stuff.
Yeah, so like they couldn't like talk like they do in this comic, but like humans and whales could get along pretty good.
Well, and that was one thing. The question that I had, to interrupt again, is are they talking audibly to everybody, or is that something special that like Starseal's family does?
So it's like an orca language that like anyone could learn. So Aideen learned it from a young age because Starseal taught her, but Rhiannon doesn't really mess with the orcas. I haven't really talked about it, but like she's a Selkie. They just kind of don't get on with killer whales. It's like seals and whales. She never really had an interest in it. So like she could learn, the other people could learn, but it's right now it's just Starseal and Aideen.
So you're telling me that Cartoonicus's portrayal was more realistic than we were giving him credit for.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So he's just talking in his weird whale language, but Starseal could understand it.
Yeah, there you go.
Basically like Finding Nemo.
I also noticed you translated all of the names, probably to make it easier for people to read it, because that's not how you spell Aideen.
Yeah,
I get in English it is, but
yeah, I chose like the easier names for just English and ESL people.
Had 15 vowels in it.
Yeah, and also a North Irish person actually told me this, like when I just finished volume 1, but I already printed it, so it's too late to change. But Brian's name is the Welsh spelling of Brian, not the Irish anglicized version. So that's another mistake.
Well, that's okay because Rhiannon is a Welsh name anyhow. So
yeah.
So they make a cute couple that way.
It's true. Yeah, they fit together.
Kind of like the members of Fleetwood Mac did.
Yeah, the inspiration.
Until they didn't.
Until they didn't. That's a deep cut there, Mark. So, Twitless, give us your thoughts here.
So the the whole feel of the comic is interesting. This, almost kind of modern rock star variation of a historical setup. I always love stuff like that where you can translate old ideas into modern ones for a modern audience. Every time I read Brian's lines, I was hearing the voice of Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon. Exactly.
Yeah, he's just the basic protagonist.
What I think I got as far as the second chapter with the father trying to set up the wedding and everything. It's doing a very good job very quickly of making the characters intriguing, wanting you to find out where the heck this is going to go next.
One other thing I'd like to say about the first chapter, I think what makes the story especially compelling about the main character is that he looks like he's walking into his job of being a village bard as if it's just going to be the easiest thing he's ever done. But when he if it's all right that I spoil something, when he plays his first gig, he chokes and the whole village ends up hating him.
Right.
So it's like you graduated from college, but that doesn't mean you know anything.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was trying to do. I wrote it as like my last project in college.
Nice.
Interesting.
Yeah. I also really appreciate how like you do a good job of like taking almost every character down a couple notches in a way that gives them this breathing room to rise up and to learn new things and to grow in new ways. And that happens repeatedly throughout the story. So, and like I said, almost every main character, with the exception of Morgan so far, has had time to develop into something different and new. And that's something that I've really appreciated about the whole work.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I really feel like to make people care about characters, they have to go through struggles and overcome them. And I tried to include just like different types of characters going through different stuff, so like everyone reading could find someone who like they attach to the most, or just so there's some variety in the story. And yeah, I'm glad you like that part. Morgan, for sure, like she has some fans, but no one really likes her. But she's gonna play a more major part in the next volume.
Nice.
Because like her parents are pirates, so they're gonna get a boat.
Gonna get a boat.
So I'm doing like a beach episode right now, and Morgan's more prominent in it. I'm like gonna start working on developing her and Servius's character more.
The obligatory beach episode.
Exactly.
So many people try to stray away from the beach episode these days, but I think, you know what, you should just dive straight into it. I'm actually
the first
doing.
chapter already have the beach episode.
Yeah, technically every chapter it's on the beach, huh? But like this is like the summer quintessential beach episode.
Yeah, this is the beach
it's a
episode.
seaside village. It's gonna have a lot of beaches. There's beaches everywhere.
I imagine it's cold though.
Yeah,
Different times of years.
Yeah, the people of Oi could handle it. I was just kind of thinking like because I read stories about like the Iroquois would just walk around naked in winter with just like a fur, or the Picts in Scotland apparently would just not wear clothes. So like people could handle it mind over matter. And then Rhiannon is part Selkie too, so she kind of has this weird bloodline that just doesn't get cold.
Plus, it feels like a summer beach episode. Even on the northern side of Ireland, you still get like brisk 80-degree days in the summer. Like you could go for a nice swim. It's fine.
Yeah, and the southern coast of Scotland and the coast of Wales are along the. I can't remember what it's called right now, but there's a current that comes up from South America, and so they have unseasonably warm winters compared to the rest of the islands, unless it's storm.
That side of Ireland is like that too, from like British Bay all the way to the top.
Ooh.
Yep.
I didn't even know that. Like
it just kind of covers the whole Irish Sea.
Yeah, until a storm comes, and then because you got the hot air, cold air thing, it's horrible. So.
Yeah, that's why there was tales of sea serpents being inside the Irish Sea, and you'd get it on both sides, like Welsh, Scottish, Irish sea serpents, and it's just because of the maelstroms that would go through in that kind of like strait.
That's awesome. I didn't even know that. It fits the story.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely it does. And that's one of the the other thing that I want to point out too is like I've done a bunch of, not as much as I want to, but I've done a bunch of reading about Iron Age, Ireland and Wales. And it's I think it's so cool how you take these Iron Age ideas and stories and you adapt them with the modern lens, so that people so that the themes are accessible to folks even if they haven't spent hours reading books of old legends and genealogies and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so, thank you.
Well, Twitless is away from right now, so we'll have to come back to have his take on it. Has anybody else not had their? Oh, you're back?
I'm here.
Oh, excellent, excellent.
I've been here. I muted when I coughed.
Well, I thought maybe you had to step away like you sometimes have. So, but that's fine. So, what are your thoughts on Oi so far?
Oi, do you have a manga license? This is an interesting blend because I can see the manga influences in here, but it also seems to have a. I'm not an expert on what Irish comics would look like from a stylistic perspective, but it definitely seems to have an intentional Celtic flair or style that's impacting the artwork and the storytelling as well. But I'm thinking back to even the first issue and some of the experiments I think that you played with with some of the lettering, some of the word balloons had some kind of Celtic designs around them, and these were some of the panels looked like they were almost they looked similar or evocative of like Book of Kells kind of art style. These are things and when you kind of take that and you kind of mix it with a sort of manga action style type thing, I think that creates a very interesting blend. And it's something that I really thought was interesting. And it's definitely this kind of punk rockish comic, but it's a punk rock comic with a very interesting influence map. And it's kind of I think that makes it kind of unique, and that's I think a real big selling point for it. In addition to some of the other points that have been brought up by some of the other people on the panel, which is the fact that it's got some interesting characters who seem to be on some solid character arcs. So I'm yeah, this is good stuff.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I really love manga. Definitely in my newer pages, the influence is way more normal manga-y. These pages I drew with the ink brush, and I think that really has a good effect. It took me longer to do, but looking at it now, I'm like, wow, I should go back to doing ink brush like this. So I love like all the mainstream mangas. I read that stuff growing up, but I also love like Frank Miller comics, indie comics, Love and Rockets, Euro comics. So I guess all that kind of stuff influenced me. And then, yeah, like you were saying, I definitely looked at Book of Kells and illuminated manuscripts. I just always loved that stuff, even before I started the story. I thought like the scribes who would just spend their lives illustrating that stuff, when I learned about them, I thought, wow, these guys had the best job, just drawing all day. So I guess I'm paying tribute to them. There's the bunnies.
The original comic book artists.
I gotta say that the new villain we meet here in this chapter, the guy with the what are they the scythes or
sickles?
Sickles,
yeah,
the guy with the sickles. He gives me Vincent Price vibes a little bit.
For me, he was inspired by
short Vincent Price.
He's inspired by this guy called Ryan Seacrest. I'm just like because first of all, think about it. He's doing the American Idol speech, but on top of that, being the host of American Idol in Los Angeles, at least he's on the radio every single morning. He's in that New York morning show. How does he do this? And then when New Year comes along, he's the host of that. That's like a big yearly ceremony. So he's basically like this huge influential guy. And also I learned he managed the Kardashians. So he just has this huge hand in like every pie of pop culture, and like people don't realize it.
His closer, Seacrest out, is actually a phrase for a magical spell that lets him teleport where he needs to go afterwards.
There you go.
Now I'm not going to be able to unhear him saying "seek." My best Vincent Price impression. Seacrest out.
Oh man, yeah, his name's Rory Seacrow. I really missed it not having him ever say Seacrow out. That would have been amazing.
Yeah, that would have been great.
I just blew it.
Oh my gosh.
But I like that though. In a comic all about music, you've got him based on like the ultimate music superstar.
Yeah,
the
like
producer. Anyway.
And Angus is inspired by like Bono and David Bowie.
Yeah, and I definitely picked up the David Bowie, especially in volume 3. You get that Bowie vibes really heavy on that.
So are we going to get a character based off Simon Cowell?
I mean, that's an idea.
They have to make it to Tara at some point.
Yeah. Well, the idea for the next arc is a Mediterranean tour. They go to Stonehenge, and then there's the Pythian Games in Delphi because they want to go find Servius' sister, who's an oracle there. But,
nice.
Yeah, they got to get to Tara. You're right. I got to have sometimes there.
Yeah. Well, you've been laying, and that's the one thing about this is that, like, I guess one question I have looking at the big picture is, like, how much of like the broad strokes did you have figured out when you started? Because you've been like laying breadcrumbs through like what, 600 pages, 700 pages.
I think it's like over 700 pages now. It's like that first chapter, I really did not know where I was gonna go next with it. I just wanted to do one chapter of like a long 20-page comic, and then it's just like I would just think about where's the story gonna go, what's this guy's arc gonna be, and some stuff changed, but I guess I don't even know how I do it. I guess what happened is when I finished volume 1, so the story is, I'll try to be brief. I did volume 1. I signed it away to this small UK publisher. They did nothing with it for like a couple of years. I eventually got the rights back, but by then I was working on a bunch of other projects. I only started it like 5 years later. The woman who's now my wife, she encouraged me to get back on it. So like during the time when I couldn't work on OI because I didn't have the rights, or like when I wasn't inspired to do it, when I was doing like long driving trips, I would just think in my head, like, what could I do? Why is music banned in OI? Like when I started the story, I didn't even know why music was banned. I just thought it was like a good idea for a bard showing up to a town. And then I would just come up with all the dots and connect everything. And I'm like, what would I do with this character if I could tell this whole long self-sustained thing? What is this character like? And I guess just over time, it all just formed up in my head.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I, like I said, and I love it. And part of what I'll tell you, part of what I discovered these at the same time I started like looking at changing the shape of what my comics were. Right. Started buying those Tonkabon size volumes, and I think it makes it really easy, really fun to read through. I actually when I got the first issue, I was like, okay, now I've caught up on the first issue, and I can go ahead and read the webcomic. But man, I just couldn't get into the webcomic until I bought the second volume.
Yeah, that was my hope.
So that's it. We do have a question from the chat. Halloweener says 700 pages. How are the sales?
They're okay. I sell it at conventions. I sell it through crowdfunders. And I sell it on Amazon. Amazon sales are not like the greatest. I mostly sell them at conventions, and it does okay. I have these other comics that are just like cartoony cat books, like trippy cat comics.
I heard cartoony cat.
Yep. They're called Kitty Jenkins, Pervana. It's like a psychedelic three-eyed cat who pops into people's lives, sends them on crazy journeys. It's more like newspaper style strips. Like some shows I sell only the cat comics. Some shows I sell only the OI comics. I guess it just depends. Some shows I sell both. Sales have gotten better recently though. Like I feel like with manga and anime being more popular and more mainstream, more people are checking it out, and it's selling better. But yeah, sales that I want to sell more, but I mean, it does okay. Like this month, it did pretty good. I don't know why.
And I said, like I got these on Amazon, so that's where I picked them up because they were pretty easy to find. Although when I bought volume 2, I hadn't seen volume 3 was out there, and I said I messaged you on Twitter and I said, when is volume 3 coming? And you're like, it's already out, dude.
Yeah, for whatever reason. Oh, sorry to interrupt.
No, it's fine.
For whatever reason, like Amazon doesn't package volume 3 with the other 2. Like it says people who buy volume 1 buy volume 2, but it doesn't show the 3 link. So I don't know if I have to contact them or if.
Yeah, I can't remember. I couldn't get to it from going to the OI page on Amazon. I had to go to your page, and it was linked off of your profile, but it wasn't linked off of the OI profile.
Okay, I could see if it's part of the series. I'll check that out after the show.
So, but I highly recommend it. So.
Yeah, I sell them for just, I think like $10. I think volume 3 is $12, but because it's 300 pages and then shipping's not that much. That's why I like Amazon, because like more people have access to it. Whereas I do the crowdfunders, but when people, like one guy in the Faroe Islands got it, and he had to pay like $50 just for shipping, which is crazy. But with Amazon, people from all over the world could get it for less.
Wow. So
we should probably move on to the part where you ask us questions based on what we might have missed.
I was just going to say that. Brilliant.
I ask questions.
Yeah, Dan, ask us any questions you might have about your book.
What do you think is the weaknesses?
You guys are asking really challenging questions this evening. I'm
Yeah.
Okay, I got another
normally-
question.
Normally, no, that's fine. You feel free to ask whatever you want. But we were teeing you up to ask us softballs.
Oh man, my bad. Okay,
No. That's totally fine. It's just that you can ask us like one of the like I said, you can ask us whatever it is that you want to ask that you feel like you should ask as a creator. But another thing is that occasionally, like I know as a creator that there'd be like things that I put into my stories that I was hoping my audience would pick up on. And so this was also in addition to the questions, those other questions, it's also an opportunity for us to, ask those types of questions. Hey, I put a lot of work into this aspect of it. What did you think of blank? So that type of thing as well. So if you do have any of those, we'd be happy to answer that as well.
Yeah, one thing was what Matt was saying about how referencing the old myths like from the Book of Invasions and stuff, but like doing it in kind of like a modern way and just including it in the story where even if you don't have any knowledge of it, it still just works as a story. That's exactly what I was trying to do with a lot of this stuff. Like I probably pronounced it wrong. I think it's Etten Adine, the myth of the girl who gets turned into a red fly and has to chase the one she loves for like years and years. I kind of thought of that where she gets abducted at a rave and gets like corrupted and brainwashed and drugged up into this weird like go-go dancing moth girl. So it's kind of like I do stuff like that in the story, and you just pick it up.
Pretty close on the pronunciation. You just have to soften the E sound a bit. It's like Edin.
Edin, yeah. Edin. Yeah, see, I can't even pronounce what I'm writing.
So if there's
You're pretty close.
Yeah. So if there's anything that like as a creator that you want to ask your audience about, like what something maybe that they did you appreciate blank? What did you think of X? Do you like this character that I put a lot of work into? That type of thing.
Yeah. Okay. What do you want to see these characters do? Like, what kind of story do you want to see them in? Because like volume 1's kind of like basic intro. Volume 2, I tried to do a horror story and just put them through hell. And then volume 3, it's kind of like Shonen Battle, Return of the Jedi, the big comeback. So this was like a big 3-volume arc. What kind of stories would you want to see them in next?
You're already doing what I would want to see.
The Aquaman stuff.
Well, like that's part of it.
That
but
just
also,
all
like,
sounds great.
Like there is a I don't want to spoil the end of volume 3, but where Adine ends up at the end of volume 3, just that just hits me, right? I love that whole like her progression through that thing, her coming to grips with her place in the world and moving on to the next phase of her life in the most perfect fashion possible. So
I'll say something.
I don't want to spoil it for people, but yeah, it's. I think you're already moving in these great directions. I love it. So
I've only read I think 2 issues of this so far, so you might have already done this. But I would say that if you haven't done this, I would definitely love to see it. If you've already done it, then I would definitely say I want to see even more amped up version of it. But the scene where we've got that kind of pro wrestling stuff going on was really kind of cool. And it makes me think of the fact that having like a kind of like the Furbolg versus the Tuatha De Danann fight, but have it interpreted through the lens of a tag team wrestling match with all the super manga moves.
You gotta read volume 3.
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Okay.
Oh my god, it's the faction they're fighting is Banshee Vale. They're these guys who live in a cave. They're kind of like the spooky faction. One of the witch girls, Dana, she says she's descended from fairies and stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's basically what happens, what you describe.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I want.
I mean, and to set this up, like the Tuatha De Danann versus the Furbolg would have been centuries prior to these events, but there's definitely echoes of that going on here. It would be fun to kind of look at some of that like background textual stuff as it goes on too.
Yeah,
about how it gets
Baylor
set up.
Baylor with the evil eye off the top rope.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I
that's a
like
nice-
hurling. So apparently I have a hurling match to catch up on by going back. So that's already exciting to me. And I'll definitely want more of that going forward
It is a good
every so
scene.
often at least. I would like if like, I don't know, maybe there was a one with stakes where they have to do a hurling match against a bunch of cheating Fey folk and they end up beating them anyway. That'd be a pretty cool encounter. Yeah.
All right. So Aideen is the team captain of the village hurling team, and that's what starts volume 2, a match against Banshee Vale, the fairy people. It like goes wrong. So the story starts as like a sports story, and then it morphs into a horror story because they win the first.
I look forward to reading volume 2 then when I go back.
Yeah, they bet double or nothing on the rematch, except the rematch has to be in Banshee Vale in the cave, but none of them have ever been to Banshee Vale, so it's like the first time they leave the village. But it's a trap.
Spoiler alert, it's a trap.
One thing I'm looking forward to is seeing more battles at sea. I like seeing those drawn, and I'm trying to develop a story of my own that has lots of sea battles in it. But one thing I think would be hilarious that I would like to see, does Brian play a concert for the whales at any point?
No, so that's something that could happen.
All right.
They could try to set up a little stage next to the sea.
Again, if you haven't already done this, possibly with the Ryan Seacrest character, what I'd love to see is Brian end up getting basically discovered by the equivalent of a recording artist, and then that recording artist turn out to be evil, and you kind of mimic the corruption of the pop culture music industry.
Volume 3.
Yeah. Oh my God, that happens.
All right. Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know. That Seacrow character, he's giving me mad like Ferderic vibes.
I mean,
Who's that?
If you can,
Ferderic's a type of Fey folk.
I didn't even know.
It's like a leprechaun, but
yeah, he's inspired by like leprechauns.
Yep.
Yeah, but if you decide to go with what was that? I was looking down. What was that? Twitless or Cartoonicus that said that about the idea for a music producer or somebody.
Right.
It's like if you're looking for a name, just call him Charlie. If you're a Wasp fan.
Yeah, the idea I have is basically the bards are like the artists, like the idols of their day, and the druids of each town are like the producers, basically. So it's like each druid has like their own like prodigies they work like they kind of guide from the shadows.
I see.
So like Banshee Vale has this druid. She's kind of inspired by Kate Bush, and also this beggar who used to live near my apartment in London. There was this woman who had like her nose was cut off, and she would just sit by the ATM machine and make these horrible noises and scream and beg, and people would give her money. Sometimes she was holding a baby, sometimes not. And like one time I saw her at the subway, and she wasn't dressed in rags. She was dressed in like this Gucci coat. She had this fancy bag and fancy shoes. So I realized like she's just doing this, but she's richer than me. And she inspired a comic character.
Nice.
What about a boy band called the Backstreet Bards?
That's an idea right there. They could fit into the world of Oi.
I don't know if they had streets back then. It would be back roads.
I mean, the Romans had roads, so when they go to England, I'm sure they'll see some Romanization. That's one of the reasons I wanted to set it in Ireland too, because the Romans never really had a foothold there, And like I like Romans and everything, but they're just in so much media.
Right,
And I thought if it's in Ireland compared to somewhere like Wales, which also had like huge bard culture, like I could just focus on the bardage and the Celticness more than have like Roman incursion. But like during the time period, it's kind of inevitable. So they're going to go into the Mediterranean world
right.
and interact with that stuff next on the next major arc.
Cool.
Yeah, and that actually, I think that's actually really cool too because of how you develop Severus. I got to tell you, man, at the end of volume, probably it's not a little bit of a spoiler, but at the end of volume 1, when Severus, it looks like he's just going to leave, and I was just like, man, I just got to like this guy. You can't just you can't just leave like that. But it was really cool. I think the way that came over, that story, the way they came around by volume 3. So
yeah. A lot of people tell me that he's their favorite character, but he like hardly does anything. Well, he does more, but he's like pretty backgroundish. So I want to give him more focus in the next one.
oh yeah.
Yeah, and a tour actually, because like obviously Bardry was literally everywhere in Europe, but even hurling, the other aspect, it kind of descends from a like Gaul Celtic game that should have been around in all of the Germanic countries, but their game kind of just evolved into modern field hockey, while Irish hurling just stayed hurling over the years. So if you're going that far back in the past, you could actually just find other people to play against all over Europe.
Irish hurling stayed Irish hurling, except in Scotland, where it's basically the same, but it's shinty.
Yeah. But like over on the islands, it was able to kind of stay the same, while like on continental Europe, it evolved into more of what we're familiar with, like lacrosse and field hockey now.
Yeah, probably a lot of them it switched to field hockey over time.
Well, and even those are related to football too.
Now I want to see ESPN announcers for this.
That'd be fun. Like I could do just a whole hurling comic, but it's like takes so many pages to tell these hurling stories. So I can't do it too much because it's not Tales of Bardic Hurling. It's Tales.
Yeah, that's what I said every so often. Every so often.
I guess like Quidditch and Harry Potter kind of shows up sometimes. But yeah, like the hurling team is they're big players in volume 3.
Yeah, Lorcan and the lads.
Yeah, Lorcan and the lads.
That was one of my favorite pages. I turned and I was just like, oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, Lorcan's pretty badass. Like he just goes into a crowd of people and starts fighting. That was inspired by I just seen RRR, however you pronounce it. Have you seen that movie?
Nope.
There's just a scene where this riot cop goes into this crowd of like 200 people and just starts beating on them. And he's like kicking their ass. So that kind of influenced that when he's fighting the huge Banshee crowd.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
I'm glad you like that page. Yeah, I love those guys, but they're kind of like, I guess, C-list characters in the story. But I want them to have their own like arc too.
Well, and the thing is, we use that flashback in such a way that it really gives them time to build up, so that when you come to that scene, it's like it has this gravitas to it. So, and I actually went back to check them out in volume 2 to kind of place myself, because it was one of those things where I was just like wanted to see more about it. I thought it was a really great thing. So,
thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you like that part. Yeah, my idea with him is like he's kind of like the Ronaldo of hurling, but just because Aideen is such a force of nature on the field, he doesn't really get like the credit he deserves. But like he's a boss himself.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, anybody have any other questions?
I mean, I could say thank you guys for reading it and giving me your feedback. I really appreciate it, and it's really motivating and inspiring for the next pages. Like right now I'm doing this full color beach episode, like I said, but when I'm done, I'm gonna start kicking into more plot again. This is just like a fan service chapter, which by the way, you could read for free on Webtoon and Tapas.
I would like to say thanks as well, especially for all your feedback. I Yeah, it's like sometimes I don't have confidence in my own writing, but both the both the praise and the criticism has been a confidence boost. And for anybody who is interested in Ninu of the Dinosaurs, you can read it on Subscribestar under Stonemason Comics. That's comics with an X, and you can also look for Stonemason Comics with an X on YouTube. I sometimes do live streams and speed draws there.
All right. All right. Well, I think that's going to be a show for tonight. Next week, oh my gosh, I am so far behind on things. I haven't been doing that. Next week is supposed to be my favorite Green Lantern comic, I think, or is it Superman #5 next week?
I don't know.
I will have to go. I'm going to have to go back and look. I let myself take last week off of almost everything, and I lost my mind. So I'm going to have to double check on that. But yeah. Check these guys' books out. The links to their tapas are in the description right now.
I'm also dropping them in the chat to make it easier for anybody who's already here.
Thank you for sharing this with us.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for coming on. And we will be back next week to talk about something DC Comics related, apparently. It's going to be one of those things.
One or the other.
And,
wait, yeah. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to close this out. So if you had anything else.
Yeah, I just because I saw a YouTube comment that says, sell your book. All right, I'll sell them again. They're all on Amazon. Oi Tales of Bardic Fury 1, 2, 3. Oi Tales of Bardic Fury 1, the intro. Oi Tales of Bardic Fury 2, the Banshee Vale horror show, horror themed. Oi Tales of Bardic Fury Volume 3, Burn Your Idols, the fiery conclusion to the arc that began in Volume 1. Check them all out. I'd say they're pretty affordable. Look at that, 750 pages plus of story and nice art. Bardic Irish waifus, husbandos, magic and fantasy. What more could you want? Check it out. And thanks again, Matt, for having me on the show.
Yeah, I don't have quite that many books out for Ninu yet, but I'm getting there. You can read the first 3 issues on Subscribestar again, and I will be eventually printing those books. Thank you very much for having me on.
Absolutely. And the rest of us, you know where to get our stuff. So
yeah, we're here all the time.
We're here all the time. So we'll go ahead and call the show there. And until next time, get out there and read some alternative history comics. Bye.